Okay, so we will start. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining our panel of employers who we are hoping will be talking to you very briefly about apprenticeships and employment in the construction and the built environment sector. But before we start, I'd like to kindly request, and I'm sorry, my screen is stuck. Kindly bear with me. Oops, my screen is stuck. Bear with me, I am so sorry. I shall try again. Bear with us, we're having some technical problems, but they should be easily resolved. So kindly bear with us. So before we start, we'd like to welcome you to our panel of employers, and we'd like to kindly ask you to observe some of these instructions to make sure that the panel of employers runs smoothly. Please keep your microphones muted at all times to avoid any background noise. And if you'd like to ask a question, please do this via the Q&A button, as some of you have used this to say hello. Questions asked publicly in the question and answer function will be answered at the end of the session and at the end of each presentation from our panel of employers. Once again, we'd like to thank you very, very much for joining us today. And please note that this session will be recorded. So before we go ahead, I'd like to first introduce you to what apprenticeships are. Apprenticeships are a work-based development structure. They are a qualification, and they're currently just over 560 standards between level 2 and level 6 and 7. Obviously, level 6s and 7s are those that are equivalent of bachelor's and master's degree. Our panel of employers today will very briefly introduce the organizations, who they are, and their employment and apprenticeship landscape as an employer. So without any more time to take, I'd like to introduce you to our panel of speakers, and the first one being Abdul. Over to you, Abdul.
Thank you, Kelly, and hello to everyone as well. My name is Abdul Khan. I am the Construction Skills Manager for Transport for London. For those who don't know, TFL have now moved into property development. Just to give you a little landscape as to where we are, we're looking to build 10,000 homes from this year. We've gone live on 2 sites, one being in Waltham Forest on Blackhorse Road, and the other in Kidbrooke. We've also got multiple developments taking place in Barnet as well. Colindale, we're building 313 homes. High Barnet and Finchley Central, 861 homes, and then we're exploring a town centre region scheme as well for Edgware. So we've got multiple opportunities coming up. These are ranging from your groundwork to your labourers, to going towards management opportunities, apprenticeship opportunities. So they're vast and they're very wide as to the opportunities that's available for individual candidates that want to go on. TFL will be working with the likes of Barnet, with the likes of Cali as well, on supporting candidates from Barnet into securing employment across our sites. That's me done, Cali.
Thank you very, very much.
Okay, very short, sharp, and simple.
No, it was absolutely fantastic. And thank you for introducing Transport for London in Barnet. I will very quickly go on to our next employer, Calvin Howe from Volkerfitzpatrick. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Callie. And a big thank you to Sophie as well at Middlesex University for organising this day, giving us the opportunity to speak to you. I'm going to call you rising stars, is probably the phrase I'm thinking of. I work for Volkerfitzpatrick. We are a major multidisciplinary construction company. We're currently doing some work in Barnet. We are delivering the new Thameslink station, which is effectively going to be situated in between Cricklewood and Hendon. So right in the middle, it's going to be a brand new station. And so this is actually part of the bigger Brent Cross Cricklewood regeneration project. A big part of my role is that I take the lead on looking at how we bring new talent into the industry. So a big part of this is actually looking at apprentices. So we do apprenticeships in civil engineering, quantity surveying, construction management, but also we're doing apprenticeships in planning and design. That's a lot of the front end stuff, but if you think about it, we also need people in support roles. So we also have apprenticeships in administration, IT and HR. And in terms of the pathways, we look at a level 3 and also a level 4, all the way up to a degree apprenticeship.
Thank you, Calvin. Thank you very much for that introduction for Volkerfitzpatrick. Very quickly, our next employer is Deepak and Abby. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Sophie, thank you for today. A little bit about myself and Abby. We work for Berkely Group, one of the operating divisions of Berkely Group, which is St. George. There are a number of different operating divisions within Berkely Group, so you may have heard of some of them. So we've got St. George, Berkely Homes, St. Edwards, St. James, St. Joseph's. So those are some of the sort of construction operation divisions that we've got within Berkely Group. I'm here today because we've got two developments within the London Borough of Barnet. We've got Beaufort Park, which some of you might be familiar with. It's by the old RAF base in Hendon. We've been there for a number of years, and we've still got about sort of 5 years on that project as it stands. We've also got another new development coming up in Silk, which is called Silk Park. And that's going to be an old Sainsbury's site, which is off the A5 Edgware Road, just on the borders between Hendon and Brent. We're going to be looking to build 1,309 new homes down there, which are going to be built in 2 phases. We're going to also remove the existing Sainsbury's there and obviously give them a new Sainsbury's on that development. We're looking to sort of create 1.5 acres of the site to be allocated to public landscape, open space, which individuals in the borough can use, which is fantastic. We're going to have sort of over 10,000 square foot of commercial and business space. We're going to be looking at probably a 10 to 12 year build program down there. And the buildings are going to range from sort of 4 stories to I think about 28 stories. So, a really nice mix. Now, as a developer, obviously we have a supply chain, and we're always keen to try and promote apprenticeships, employment, work experience opportunities on our developments. And this is something we're going to be looking at to do at Silk Park and Beaufort Park. In terms of the range of opportunities, again, very similar to what Calvin and Abdul mentioned earlier. We are construction, so we're going to be looking at sort of the entry-level stuff from labouring, moving up to trade and skill specialisms. And then we've also got sort of the more professional roles like quantity surveying, site management, finance and the likes of that. We also have a graduate scheme. So for many of you who might decide to sort of study, go to university, Berkely Group do hold a graduate uptake every year. You can generally apply online. There is a process that you need to follow, but then there is an uptake of grads every year that start within the business. And, that's a 2-year program where they get to experience different sides of the business before they settle into to the specialism they've sort of selected. So hopefully that's provided a nice little overview of St. George and Berkely Group.
Yeah, it's very extensive, Deepak. Thank you very, very much. I'll quickly move on to the next speaker, an employer, Karen Rodgers from Farrans.
Okay, so hi everyone. Hope you're all having a nice afternoon. Thanks for having us today. So I'm Karen Rodgers and I work as a stakeholder engagement lead at Farrans Construction. So Farrans is a leading building and civil engineering contractor with over 75 years experience across the UK and Ireland. As a company, we employ more than 500 people, and we have offices across Belfast, London, Cambridge and Edinburgh. And Farrans is part of the CRH group, which is one of the world's leading building materials business. So what we're currently doing within Barnet at the minute is we're working on a project which was the old Hendon Hall Hotel on Ashley Lane. And this is now under development with Signature Living to be a state-of-the-art care home with assisted living accommodation. So you can see it in the background, hopefully, of my head. So we have been there for 18 months and we have a further 6 months until completion. So during that time, we have been able to provide a wide range of opportunities to the local community. We currently have 7 apprentices on site at the minute, and they're studying at various different levels and are completing various different roles. We have the traditional apprentices of the trades, so the mechanical and electrical, and now with the internal fit out of the project commencing, we have flooring specialists and plastering apprentices coming on board soon, and they're all studying for level 2 and 3 NVQs. Additional to this, we have non-construction apprentices, a bit like some of the previous speakers had said, so they're maybe studying for business administration. And then we have level 5 and level 6 apprentices who are completing at degree level and aiming to become qualified engineers and quantity surveyors. So why do we recruit apprentices in Farrans? So we see our apprentices as our future talent. We invest in their futures and giving them training that's required to succeed in their role. So our apprentices are able to put into practice what they learn at college or uni, and this is a massive benefit. A lot of our apprentices have more experience than graduates. By the time they complete their apprenticeship or their degree, they'd be operating at a far higher level than some of the graduates, and that's a really huge selling point. So there's different avenues to get into construction, and we no longer solely go down the kind of traditional routes of getting graduates or relying on subcontractors to bring on apprentices. It's a much more collaborative approach to recruitment and opportunities. So with every project now we are awarded, what we do is we dedicate a number of opportunities to young people and support with their education and career development. So whether that be through site visits, work experience, placements, and then with the apprentice opportunities as well. So in the areas that we work, we source and advertise through the local schools and councils and colleges, as well as through the unis and the employment support groups. So within Barnet, we would work with Callie and his network of support functions there. So I talked about the traditional trade apprentices, but now we've got options to explore so many other avenues and aspects of construction. So not only just in engineering, but as an estimator, a design coordinator, a planner, a quantity surveyor. So our apprentices are based at different locations throughout the UK and Ireland. And if you're interested, you can have a little look at our website, and there's some careers videos there from current apprentices working on a whole range of sites across the UK. So have a wee look at Farrans' website and in our careers links, and you'll see some opportunities there. So thanks for your time today. Hope that
Thanks,
helps.
Karen. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And for our audience, if you have any questions or comments, we welcome them, and we encourage you to begin to ask your questions and also share your comments and thoughts. Thank you. Our next speaker and panel member is Nick Wicks. Hi, Nick.
Hi, thanks very much, Callie, and thank you very much to Middlesex University for hosting us today. I'm delighted to join you from Argent Related, which is a property developer, and we are really excited to be starting have just started a new program to build a new town just south of Middlesex University at Brent Cross. And as part of that, there'll be a vast number of opportunities arising. A little bit about us. Argent are the company that are behind the King's Cross estate. So if you've ever been wandering about around the back there, you'll have seen some of the work we do. We've teamed up with Related, which is an American property developer, and we're in a joint venture with Barnet Council in order to create this brand new town. It's one of the components of a much larger scheme, of which Calvin mentioned earlier. The new Brent Cross West Station will be feeding the new town, and jointly we'll be creating a whole range of job opportunities, apprenticeships, and other training opportunities. We've already got, even though work's just started and it's a big muddy patch on the ground, we already have a few apprentices on site. We've got a quantity surveyor and a trainee engineer, and those are just the first two of many that we hope will join us on site. And you know, so far they've seemed to be enjoying themselves a lot. But a little bit about our scheme. We're creating 6,700 new homes, 3 million square feet of office space, a brand new high street. We're refurbishing 180 acres of greenland, including 50 acres of playing fields. We've got 460,000 square feet of retail. We're refurbishing 3 new schools, refurbishing and improving 3 schools, and creating 18 new public spaces. So we've got our work cut out for us, and this is a long-term program. So going forward, look out for us and look out for the opportunities that we'll be creating there.
Yeah, and look out for Nick for jobs as well.
Yeah, in the long term, in the short term, we'll be looking at primarily construction phase opportunities. So within construction, within our construction companies that we employ, we'll be looking for quantity surveyors, civil engineers, building services engineering, a lot of the trades, so that's carpentry, electrical, plumbing, your typical trades, as well as some of your less traditional, such as drywalling, site management. All of these apprenticeships will be looking to see if we can put into our supply chain. And then as we develop more and more assets and we build up this new town, we'll be looking to get apprentices into estate management, property development, customer care, and things like that. So we're going to be in the area for a very long time. Thank you. Oh, and if I could just say, we also, if you get into university next year, I'd like to promote our Upreach program, and I'll be circulating more information on that through Middlesex University.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nick. I'm sure our citizens in Barnet will definitely be getting in touch with you and Calvin about jobs in Brent Cross and those jobs that you will be creating after the development moving forward. Finally, Norma from Wates Group. Hi,
Hello.
Norma. Would you
Hi,
like to
can you hear
introduce
me?
yourself and Wates?
Can you hear me okay, yeah, everybody?
Yes, we can.
Can I share my screen? Just going to put up a couple of slides.
Yes.
That's all right, Kelly.
There you go.
Okay. So, right, hopefully you can see that. So literally, I just want to tell you a bit about Wates. Wates are a family-run business, been around for over 125 years now, still family-run, family-led, and we're going into the 5th generation. And when we say we're going into the 5th generation, actually, starting this year, one of the apprentices that earned early careers graduates that have been taken on are one of the Wates members of the family. So literally, they're starting as an apprentice within the family business. They're not coming in at the top, they're actually on site on one of our projects. Not yours, Callie, however, I'm afraid, but you never know, he might visit over to London. So you never know. But they honestly believe in training up staff and actually giving everybody an opportunity to build themselves. I am the local community investment manager, very similar to Karen. I support a number of projects across the Barnet area, which are our Mary Foster build and our Bishop's Avenue build, which are both care homes. And we will look to take on apprentices over those projects. And I'll come into what we offer because we offer very similar to the rest. However, the one good thing is we've got another arm of the business that will also be coming into the Barnet area that will be doing house building as well. So keep an eye out for that because there will be more opportunities outside of what I do. And I support individuals to get them into employment, into apprenticeships, advise schools, colleges, university of the opportunities, okay? So literally Wates offer apprenticeships, year-out placements and graduate, very similar to all of what you've heard previously. So keep the questions coming in because Callie's going to have to ask us all of those. But some of the other stuff that we offer outside of the level 2 apprenticeship upwards, I would say, is actually we offer placements for the T-quals, which is new that are coming in, and they're feeders into some of these actual other programs that we're working, and it gives you those opportunities to get a better understanding of all the vast opportunities within the sector that will feed into your apprenticeships. Thank you very much, Callie.
Thank you, Norma, and thank you to all our employers and stakeholders in Barnet. Our first question is actually from my colleague, Andrew Williams, and he's asking, will you be happy for us to provide contact information of you guest speakers? Can we share your contact details? Yes, yes, yes. So the answer is yes. Excellent. Happy to. Any other questions from our guests today and our audience?
There's not any questions at the moment, but I have some questions for you, and hopefully this will get people going in kind of asking some questions to you. So how do people apply for these apprenticeships with your companies?
Yeah, maybe I'll start from a Barnet Council perspective and then open it up to our employers, our panel of employers. In Barnet, within Barnet Council, there are a number of things that we've introduced. First of all, Barnet Council does have its own apprenticeship program for apprenticeship opportunities within the local authority. The second thing that we've also introduced is a job portal, which is an online platform that you can access and should begin to host a lot of the vacancies within our stakeholder employers in Barnet. And thirdly, you can always independently engage with our employer stakeholders in front of you today and talk to them about your aspirations, and most importantly, how those aspirations could be translated into a tangible career outcome for you. Thank you. Which of my employers would like to join me in my view? Norma?
Wates have a portal when you register, and it's our early careers portal on our Wates website. We take people from 16-year-olds upwards. So literally you can leave school, leave your A-levels and actually join us and start your apprenticeship from level 2 upwards. And whilst we only recruit annually, our portal, you can register your interest, which will tell you when our portal goes live. And it tends to go live around, I'm going to say, the September time. And you'll see a vast amount of opportunities that are on there, from planning apprenticeships to trade apprenticeships to quantity surveyors, and across the 3 levels. And once you apply, once you've got a sound application, you then move on to the next level, which will be probably, it's your application, telephone interview, but now it's usually a video interview, and then assessment day, which is currently being held at the moment from last year's intake, or opportunity, shall I say, that is actually being held virtually as well. So get comfortable on this virtual space that we're in, because some of it might be there for next year as well.
It's here to stay, right? Norma, will you be sharing your online platform for our citizens to apply for some of your opportunities in Wates, please?
Yeah, I can share that. That's not a problem at all. And we also have just general live opportunities and vacancies that people can fill as well. So I'll share that with you, Callie, and then literally it can go out.
Brilliant. Any other employer, how do you engage with those that are looking for talent within your organizations? Anyone else wants to join, Norma?
Yes, so I can go.
Deepak and then Karen, how do we access your companies and your jobs and your apprenticeships?
Sure. So in terms of the opportunities that come from our developments, obviously the project which I mentioned, Silk Park, which is one of our new projects, there will be opportunities coming up. It's at a very early stage, but when they do come up, obviously myself and my colleague Abby, we work with our supply chain and the project teams to identify what these opportunities are, and we try and get this information in advance, so we have a bit of a indication. And then we share that information with obviously Cali and local stakeholders, be it job centres, colleges, and anyone else that Cali suggests, who will be able to support it, because there are a number of great initiatives within the borough of Barnet. So we want to be engaging with them to make sure we can reach as far and wide to try and find the right candidates. And I guess, the follow-on stages really are for yourselves as individuals, making sure your CV is up to date, making sure that you have an idea of what sort of path or a career route you want to be taking. So I think when you're looking at sort of some of the biblical trades, it's going to be through our supply chain. And
what are biblical trades, Deepak? What are biblical trades?
Biblical trades tend to be, you like bricklaying, carpentry, plastering, i.e. dry lining now. Those kind of sort of trades, which have been around for quite some time. There's a qualification which is available around those as well. But generally having a bit of a perception, having a bit of an idea, having done a bit of research, because that way when we introduce you to our supply chain and you have that conversation, you know, for them it's good as well, because they can see that you're keen about it. It, you know, improves your chances of getting the job or the opportunity that's being presented, because subcontractors want to see that within an individual before they sort of because they want the confidence that, you know, they should spend that money, should provide the training, should provide the resources to make sure you get upskilled and able to progress your career within that company, you know, through the skills trades and maybe into a professional later on. So really is making sure from your end you've done a bit of research, having the CV up to date. CSCS is a big requirement to try and get onto building sites. So again, you know, look into it, make sure you've got the minimum requirements. There are providers that can support, there are colleges that can support with that. So make sure you have it in place, and it'll just make the transition to accessing those opportunities a lot easier. But the long and short is, from our side, we'll try and share as soon as we know, you know, so you guys can access them. I hope that sort of covers it.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much, Deepak. Before I jump, pass on to Karen, Abdul, could you mute your microphone, please? We're getting some. Thank you, sir. Karen, and also to the panel, can 16 to 17-year-olds apply for your opportunities? Karen?
Yes, definitely. So we would advertise our positions through, as I said, through our careers website, which is linked in the Farrans website, but there's also opportunities that would be advertised within the local area. So we would use, through Cali, we would use Routes into Construction. We would collaborate with K10. So there's, when we have those positions that become available, you know, we would work with the local council area and get those positions advertised through their network. So keep an eye out through the council, through the job centre, through the likes of K10 and Routes into Construction. And then additionally, the other links that, you know, that are out there, and I know a lot of us do this, is we can't, you know, with the current climate, we can't bring you to site for site visits, but what we're all trying to do is deliver that virtually. So have a look at what's out there, and there's the Speakers for Schools platform. I know Norma and myself are both using it. I'm sure the other panels are doing something similar as well. So that there is platforms that you can go and get exposure to the construction industry and what's out there and what's available as well. So like what Deepak said with getting your CV up to date, use those virtual work experience opportunities as well, and you can add them into your CV and, you know, enhance your reach then to when it comes to seeking employment.
Yeah, thank you. Calvin, I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. And Abdul, if I was a young person in Barnet and I'm averaging A to C's, and I'd like to probably join the construction and built environment sector, but I'm more looking at apprenticeships. But I also think that maybe going down the route of a university qualification would probably get me to the type of job I want. I want to be maybe a quantity surveyor or a director or a manager. What if I decided, you know what, maybe I'd rather go to university, but I don't want to maybe do an apprenticeship? How would you convince me that I would still gain the same experience and the same skills and the same benefits if I was to take on an apprenticeship and not go to university?
Well,
so with TFL, oh, sorry, Calvin, do you want to go through?
No, go for it, Abdul.
Oh, thank you. So with TFL, what we do is we normally get you introduced to our development partners who we're working with across our sites, and then we'll show you what your progress would look like with a candidate. So, for example, if you don't want to go to university, then we'll ask you to do a placement scheme, or we'll ask you to do a traineeship scheme where you're going into a site and you're doing training on site with a day at a college. So you're getting some theory-based learning as well as 4 days of practical activity on a site, and then showing you your growth plan when it comes down to for the next 4 years what it would look like. So you'll start from point A, and then within a certain time, after you've worked in certain departments, let it be in project management, let it be document control, working on the site, let it be working on the machine, whichever it is will give you certain qualifications, and then you'll get an option at the end to qualify yourself in an area that you'd like to go into. So it's like a little project plan of where you are, where you were, where you are, and where you're going to be getting to. And just to show you a little, how do I share this? What I'll do is I'll send a little the opportunity list to Callie, which he can share with our participants on the call today, and just to show you what's on offer with the developments that's going to be coming to place with Barnet, and all of our opportunities will be shared with with the local stakeholders within Barnet, as well as with Calais and within his team.
Brilliant, thank you, Abdul. Calvin, how does Volkerfitzpatrick engage with your talent to make sure that they are either accessing graduate schemes or apprenticeships and maximizing on their talent employed by you?
Yeah, I guess we're big believers in transparency. So what we've been able to do is to actually map out an individual's career path, either if they go down the graduate route, but also we're able to map that against if they go via the apprenticeship route. So I think what people want to see is how do they progress? What are the stepping stones? So for example, if somebody was looking at engineering, probably the first question that they'll be asking is, okay, well, what steps do I need to undertake to become a civil engineer, for example? So I think it's about being able to demonstrate to people what they need to do, what objectives they need to meet. But then I think more importantly, it's about giving them that envelope of support. So when they come onto site or in an office-based position, that they have the right level of mentoring available to guide that person through their career. Abdul touched on a really good point, because sometimes people think they want to go in one direction, but then they change their minds. And so being able to have that conversation, or having that structure in place whereby the individual can have that open conversation. And, it's easy to transition. I mean, for example, if somebody comes in under the civil engineering pathway, and if they want to transition to quantity surveying, design, or planning, it can be done. So I think it's about, I guess, what's the right phrase? It's about offering people that flexibility, that fluidity within their career, to enable them to empower them really to make those correct career decisions.
Thank you, Calvin. I am still, we haven't had any questions, but I do have another question. Sophie, do we still have a bit of time? Or,
yeah, we've still got another 10 minutes.
Oh, fantastic. I had a question for Nick on behalf of the participants.
Yeah, I think that people would want to know what it's like kind of onboarding virtually at the moment, if that's the case for some of your companies, or doing the interview virtually, or how it works at the moment, because previously they would have come in to see you face to face, or gone to an assessment centre, or been able to meet you physically, but now it will be in this virtual environment potentially for a little bit longer. So any information about that, and maybe how they can prepare themselves as well, because I'm sure there's probably anxieties around the virtual environment.
Yeah, thank you, Sophie. I was actually going to direct the same question to Nick, because again, Nick, with your site being one of the largest regeneration schemes in Europe, with so many other developers supporting the development of your site, how would you support that onboarding and accessing talent in Barnet to really maximize on the community, so that the community is also benefiting from your development site?
Well, I think definitely the whole going digital has been a challenge for everyone. Certainly, during this period, I was brought on myself using virtual onboarding, and it in some ways it can make it easier, I think, for the people being interviewed, because you're frequently on your computer talking to people, and one of the key things is just to act naturally and be yourself. They don't want to see a robot. So that my advice to anyone job seeking would be, come across as friendly, and be natural in the way you approach any apprenticeships, any interviews. From our perspective, we understand that it's a very strange time, and that's natural. I'd also like to reiterate what both Deepak and Calvin have said, and really try and get as much experience or knowledge about whatever it is you're trying to go into. So for example, construction, doing your homework and trying to get as much experience, you know, whether it's just trying to talk to people who are running a site, trying to talk to some of the line managers for the trades. Like if you're interested in it, see if you can talk to an apprentice or a trainee. So we'd really want, I know whatever trade or industry you're trying to go into, we want to see that you've done your homework and that you know exactly what it is you want to go into and that you're confident. What you don't have to worry about is you're not necessarily going to be stuck in that trade for the rest of your life. Life never, you know, my life certainly hasn't gone in a straight line when it comes to my career. It's gone all over the place, and that's perfectly okay. What you need to focus on is building up those key skills such as teamwork, communication, leadership. Those are key skills that will serve you well regardless of what profession you're going into. So that's, I know I've gone a little off-piste on the question, but that's what I'd encourage everyone to do.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much, Nick. Norma, you had something to add on to what Nick has said?
I think Nick and Calvin both said great things. And I think for me, this is why the virtual work experience, the virtual insight days give you that taster, that example. And I think a lot of businesses are doing that. We've got a virtual insight day that's taking place tomorrow, and it actually incorporates a virtual site tour because we can't do site tours, but it's actually been filmed, videoed by our apprentices that have just got their upgrade. So my thing is that these are opportunities that you can actually do your Q&As and get that insight, which is what Kelvin and Nick are saying.
Thank you. Thank you so much, employers. And
sorry, Calvin.
Yes, Abdul, you wanted to add something?
Yes, because we're currently running virtual training sessions. You know, I just want to give a quick insight on what needs to be done by a participant or a candidate. Is one of the things that we realize is certain opportunities require certain IDs, and we're seeing that a lot of the IDs are out of date. Like for example, today alone, a candidate signed up for an opportunity and found out his license was 4 years out of date. His passport was 18 months out of date. Now we can't put him forward for anything because he hasn't got no form of ID. Now, for any candidate, you've got to also make sure, or a participant, that you know that you've got the basics when you're applying for something. Like your basic would be your CSCS card. Do I have my CSCS card before I go on with any construction site? And all the other partners on the call today can also say, and you know, we'll confirm this. You will need a CSCS card before you go on a site. So you know, look at obtaining a CSCS card, so at least you're prepared. So when you do go for an opportunity, the first thing they may ask, do you have a CSCS card? Yes, I do. Okay, perfect. Now let's see what you want to do and how far you want to go. And it's all about bringing your transferable skills in. You may have worked in retail, you might have worked in hospitality, but there's a lot of skills that you've gained working in those industries that you can bring over. I myself, many moons ago, worked on a construction site as a laborer. And from there, I worked in McDonald's. And from there, then I worked in different area, retail. You know, I went from different area to different area. Now I've come back into construction. So there's many different areas one can work in, as long as you make yourself presentable and keep yourself open to opportunities and wanting to learn more. That's from me, Kelly.
Thank you, Abdul. I just want to add on to what Abdul has said about the licensing and the requirements to work on site. In Barnet, we are very privileged. We can support you achieve your CSCS card or your any entry-level requirements on health and safety working on site. All you have to do is to engage with our teams, Andrew Williams, Sharon Glover, the Barnet Employment, Education and Learning teams, and we'll be more than happy to engage with you and support you towards achieving those basic requirements from our employers working on the construction and built environment sector. Conscious of time, my final question to the panel of employers finally is, why is apprenticeships and employing Barnet residents in your Barnet sites important? Why do you want to employ Barnet residents on your Barnet sites? Who wants to start? I'll start with Deepak, please.
Yeah, sorry, thanks, Kelly. I guess all I was going to say is, if we are, if we're building in the borough, we've got developments in the borough. I think, what I tend to find is when you've got borough residents who've had an impact or you've been able to work on a job, you can walk away with pride because you've had an impact in terms of what's happening within the borough that you live in. So for us, it's creating that added social value to the project and making sure that we can create opportunities for people within the borough who can then benefit from the project once it's completed. And it brings that vibrancy to the community. So that could be through jobs, could be through apprenticeships, could be through work experience. Any interaction with one of our developments while we're in the borough could potentially help you later on down the line in terms of career progression. So that's why I think, the working collaboration with the local area is vital.
Fantastic. Thank you, Deepak. And I'll quickly jump on to Norma. Why is it important?
Well, it's about sustainability. How do communities grow? How do we evolve? It's about actually making sure we retain some of that economy within that local area to grow it, to build a talent pool so that we've actually got experts that are in that area. And I think we also have to remember as well is about the diversity that they'll bring from that community, and that's a key thing. I don't want to take up too much longer, but that's my points.
Thank you, Norma. I'll quickly jump to Karen.
Yeah, I suppose for us, it's about leaving that lasting legacy. So yeah, we might only be in the borough for that short period of time, but it's to ensure that we've made an impact, like the rest of the other panelists said, that we're leaving something there, something long term that is going to benefit the future young people in the area that we work.
Thank you, Karen. Calvin?
Yeah, I was just going to say, even though we're only in the area for a short period of time, if I look at where Barnet is on a map, we've got a lot of work in our London and South East portfolio. We're currently one of the contractors delivering HS2, which is neighbouring Barnet. We just picked up a job in Camden, which is just down the road from Barnet, and we're always bidding for work in Enfield. So for me to be able to make these links is very important, because what we want to be able to do, I think like what Norma was saying, is to be able to develop a talent pool. So from my point of view, why can't I go to employ somebody from Barnet for a job, in Brent or Camden?
Absolutely. Thank you, Calvin. And then Abdul, and I will let Nick close today. Abdul, why is it important to recruit in Barnet? Why is TFL recruiting in Barnet?
See, for us, it's not just about the investment; it's about local opportunities for local people. Our panelists, the companies that we've got on our panel now, they're all national, international companies. It's about bringing an international touch to the local community, offering the local community opportunities within the areas that we're developing in. So we're not just investing in the development, but we're investing in the people that live and reside within the community. So it's for the community first, and then others outside, and also part of our Section 106 agreement with yourself, Kelly.
Contracts are very important to satisfy, right?
Indeed.
Contractual obligations are very important, absolutely. Nick, why is it important? Why is it important for you to recruit in Barnet if you're building Brent Cross Town?
So for us, we're taking a very long-term approach to our relationship with Barnet as a whole, and especially the Brent Cross area. So building up our local community and really generating those opportunities is, quite frankly, good business for us, but it's also the right thing to do. We're going to be here for an extremely long time. The construction phase alone will be 15 to 20 years, possibly longer. So that's a whole track of construction opportunities. And I'm not just talking about the trades. As I mentioned before, it's all the back office roles within construction. There are so many different...
What are back office roles, Nick? What are back office roles?
So back office roles, so things like your quantity surveyors or even business administration. you know, the construction companies that we employ to build this new town are a business in their own right. So they
So do construction, sorry, Nick, I keep on interjecting in your talk. Do IT companies therefore look for accountants, IT, customer service agents? Do all of you look for this type of people? Do you look for IT? Tell me about that. Yeah, go on.
Well, yeah, certainly, like I'm pretty sure I can speak for everyone, but yeah, every single company will have an IT team. We'll all have financial management teams. So we're looking for those people to fill those roles. So it's not just about getting your hands dirty. There are a whole range of other things available, including building information modeling. For more information on construction careers, go to goconstruct.org. There's a fantastic website that spans the whole industry, and it'll teach you more. But moving forward, we're also looking for people to run our estates for us, to fill the offices of our occupiers. For example, at King's Cross, we house both Google and Facebook. And so we want to be able to have a streamline of talented people who will be able to serve our occupiers and you know, drive them through to success.
And live locally in Barnet, making sure that the talent and the economy, as Deepak and Norma said, is retained in the borough, right? And
we're looking to create a 15-minute town. So you're able to live, work, enjoy sports and leisure facilities.
Within 15 minutes.
You know, whatever you need to do, your schools, everything will be within 15 minutes. And I think that even includes Middlesex University.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, employers in Barnet. Thank you so much for your generous time today. Thank you even more so for sharing your trade secrets on how our citizens can compete and apply for your jobs, not only on your sites, but also within your organizations. For me in Barnet Council, I'd also like to thank our participants and Middlesex University and Barnet Education and Learning Department for inviting us to this event. And I will quickly hand over to Sophie to close our session today. Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you, everyone. We've got some thank yous coming in on the Q&A. I think that was a really, really insightful panel. Just to let everybody know, the webpage, which I can pop in the Q&A if you ask for it, the webpage where all of the information around today's event is housed will have all of the links from today's session for you to watch back on demand. And if there are still any teachers in this call, then we will be sending out communications to you to show you that information and also pass on any information from the panel today as well. But other than that, thank you to everyone for today. It was really, really helpful, and I'll end today's meeting.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, employers. And if it's on demand, do not go to Netflix or Prime Video. Sophie will send you the links. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
It'll just be the same link that you used today. So if there are any students in the call who received an email from Middlesex with the direct links to the sessions, you just click that again and it will take you to the on-demand page so you can watch it back in your own time.
Thank you very much. And thank you again, employers. Have a wonderful evening. And thank you to the participants for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye. Bye.